What if the love of your life was hiding a secret that could destroy everything? Tonight, a newlywed's dream in Atlanta turns into a blood-soaked nightmare. Hey, don't forget to like, please subscribe for more shocking crime stories, and hit the bell icon. The darkest truth are yet to come. In the dim glow of a single bulb, Nathan Carter poured himself a bourbon, his hands trembling as he sat alone in his Atlanta apartment. It had been 6 months since he'd buried his wife, Lena, and yet her perfume still lingered in the air, haunting him. Nathan, a 34-year-old mechanic with calloused hands and a quiet demeanor, wasn't supposed to be here, free, untouched by the law. But the truth of what happened that night in their suburban home was a secret he'd take to his grave, or so he thought. The glass clinked against the table as he leaned back, staring at a photo of Lena, her almond eyes and radiant smile masking a truth he'd uncovered too late. How could a marriage so perfect end in such horror? Nathan and Lena's story began 2 years earlier at a jazz festival in Midtown Atlanta. Nathan, raised in a working-class Baptist family, was a man of routine. Church on Sundays, beers with his crew on Fridays. Lena Harper, 29, was a freelance photographer with a laugh that could light up a room. Her deep brown skin glowed under the festival lights, and her confidence drew Nathan in like a moth to a flame. Their first conversation, over shared plates of fried catfish, lasted hours. She spoke of her travels, her love for capturing raw human moments, and her dream of opening a studio. Nathan, usually reserved, found himself opening up about his late father, his pride in fixing things, and his hope for a family. By the end of the night, he knew she was the one. But was she really who she seemed? Their romance moved fast. Within months, Lena was a fixture in Nathan's life, charming his mother, Denise, and winning over his skeptical sister, Tara. Nathan's friends envied his luck. Lena was stunning, ambitious, and fiercely loyal. "Man, you hit the jackpot," his buddy Marcus would say, clapping him on the back. Nathan proposed on a rainy evening in Piedmont Park, kneeling in the mud with a modest ring he'd saved for months to buy. Lena's eyes welled up as she said yes, but Nathan missed the fleeting shadow that crossed her face. A hesitation so brief he chalked it up to nerves. What was she hiding even then? The wedding was a vibrant affair at a historic church in Sweet Auburn, attended by 150 guests. Lena floated down the aisle in a lace gown, her smile dazzling, but her hands shook as she held Nathan's during their vows. He brushed it off, wedding jitters, he told himself. Their honeymoon in Savannah was a blur of romance. Candlelit dinners, walks along cobblestone streets, and late-night talks about their future. Yet, there were moments when Lena seemed distant, her gaze fixed on the horizon, as if wrestling with an unspoken burden. When Nathan asked if something was wrong, she'd flash that disarming smile and say, "Just tired, baby." But the cracks were there, waiting to split wide open. Back in Atlanta, they settled into a cozy bungalow in East Point, a quiet neighborhood where kids played in the streets and neighbors waved from porches. Nathan worked long hours at the auto shop, while Lena hustled to build her photography business, booking weddings and portraits. On the surface, they were the picture of newlywed bliss, hosting barbecues, dancing in their tiny kitchen to Al Green. But Nathan began to notice subtle shifts. Lena was secretive with her phone, locking it when he entered the room. She'd leave for client meetings at odd hours, returning with vague explanations. Once, he called her studio to surprise her with lunch, only to find it dark and locked. "Must have mixed up my schedule," she said later, her voice too casual. Was she lying even then? The unease grew like a shadow. Intimacy became strained. Lena would pull away, her eyes avoiding his. Nathan's gut churned with doubt, but he loved her too much to confront it head-on. Instead, he buried his fears, telling himself every couple had rough patches. But the tension was a live wire, sparking at the smallest touch. One night, after Lena claimed she was meeting a client, Nathan followed her. He watched from his truck as she entered a nondescript office building downtown, staying for over an hour. When she emerged, her face was tight, her steps hurried. He didn't confront her, not yet, but the seed of suspicion took root. What was she doing in there? Weeks later, the truth began to unravel. Nathan, unable to sleep, decided to snoop while Lena was out. He felt sick invading her privacy, but his doubts were louder than his guilt. In her desk drawer, tucked beneath a stack of invoices, he found a locked metal box. His heart pounded as he pried it open with a screwdriver. Inside were documents that made his blood freeze. A birth certificate for a Lucas Harper, born, male, dated 29 years ago. Medical records followed, detailing hormone treatments and surgeries. Lena, the woman he'd married, was transgender. The realization hit like a freight train. She'd never told him. His world tilted, the room spinning as he gripped the papers. How could she keep this from him? Nathan sat frozen. The documents spread across the desk. His mind a storm of betrayal and confusion. He loved Lena, or thought he did. But this felt like a lie that cut to his core. His conservative upbringing clashed with the life he'd built with her, leaving him unmoored. When Lena returned home, she stopped dead in the doorway, her eyes locking on the open box. The air thickened with dread. "Nathan, I can explain," she whispered, her voice trembling. But his rage was already rising, his hands clenched into Hawaii fists. "Explain," he roared, his voice raw. "You lied to me about who you are." What would he do next? Lena stepped forward, tears streaming down her face, her hands raised as if to calm a wild animal. "I was going to tell you, I swear. I was scared you'd leave me." Her words only fueled Nathan's anger, each syllable a twist of the knife. "Scared? You tricked me into this marriage," he shouted, pacing the room, his voice echoing off the walls. Lena's pleas grew desperate, but Nathan's mind was spiraling, his sense of reality fracturing. The woman he'd vowed to love felt like a stranger, and the betrayal burned hotter than his love. As Lena reached for him, her fingers brushing his arm, something snapped. His hand shot out, grabbing a heavy wrench from his toolbox on the counter. Would he cross a line he could never uncross? The room seemed to pulse with tension as Nathan loomed over Lena, the wrench glinting in his hand. Her eyes widened, fear replacing her tears. "Nathan, please," she begged, backing toward the wall. The man she'd married was gone, replaced by a stranger consumed by rage. The bourbon on his breath mingled with the scent of her perfume, a cruel reminder of the life they'd shared. His arm trembled, the weight of the wrench grounding him in his fury. Lena's voice broke as she whispered, "I love you." But those words, once his anchor, now felt like a taunt. The silence that followed was deafening, the moment stretching into eternity. What happened next would change everything. Nathan's hand trembled, the wrench heavy in his grip as Lena's tear-streaked face pleaded for mercy. One swing could end it all, but what would it cost him? The air in the East Point bungalow was thick with dread, the silence after Lena's whispered, "I love you," like a taut wire ready to snap. Nathan's chest heaved, his eyes locked on his wife, cornered against the living room wall. The wrench felt like an extension of his rage, its cold steel mirroring the betrayal burning inside him. Lena's breaths came in shallow gasps, her hands raised defensively. "Nathan, you don't have to do this, we can talk." His mind was a storm, images of their wedding, her smile, the documents revealing her past as Lucas Harper crashing together. He took a step closer, the floor creaking under his weight. Would he let his anger consume him? A sharp knock at the door shattered the moment. Both froze, their eyes snapping toward the sound. Nathan lowered the wrench slightly, his rage interrupted, but not extinguished. "Don't move," he hissed, stepping to the door. Through the peephole he saw his sister Tara, her face etched with concern. "Nathan, you okay? I called, but you didn't pick up." Her voice was muffled but insistent. Nathan's pulse raced. He couldn't let her see Lena trembling or the documents scattered on the desk. He cracked the door, forcing a tight smile. "I'm fine, Tara. Just a rough night." Her eyes narrowed, catching the strain in his voice. "Where's Lena?" Nathan's jaw clenched. "She's sleeping. I'll call you tomorrow." Tara hesitated, her suspicion lingering as she walked away. Had she sensed the danger inside? Back inside, Lena hadn't moved, her eyes wide with fear and hope. Nathan slammed the door, the wrench still in his hand. "You're lucky she showed up," he growled, but the interruption had dulled his fury's edge, leaving unease. He dropped the wrench onto the coffee table with a thud, his hands shaking. Lena sank to the floor, sobbing. "I never meant to hurt you," she whispered. "I thought if I told you you'd hate me. I just wanted us to be happy." Nathan's laugh was bitter. "Happy? You built our life on a lie." He paced, torn between love and betrayal. Could he forgive her, or was the damage too deep? The next morning, the house felt like a tomb. Nathan hadn't slept, his eyes bloodshot as he sat at the kitchen table, the birth certificate still clutched in his hand. Lena emerged from the bedroom, her face swollen from crying. "Can we talk now?" she asked, her voice fragile. Nathan's gaze was cold. "What's left to say? I don't even know who you are." Lena sat across from him, her hands twisting in her lap. "I'm still me, Nathan, the woman you married. I was born Lucas, yes, but I've been Lena since I was 19. I transitioned because I had to, because living as someone I wasn't was killing me." Her words were raw, but Nathan's heart hardened. "You should have told me before I put a ring on your finger." Lena's eyes welled up. "I tried. Every time I got close, I saw how much you loved me, and I was terrified you'd walk away." Would her honesty change anything? Nathan stood abruptly, needing air. He drove to his auto shop, the hum of Atlanta's morning traffic doing little to calm his mind. At work, his coworker Marcus noticed his distraction. "You good, man? You look like hell." Nathan brushed it off, but Marcus pressed. "Trouble with Lena?" The question stung, and Nathan's silence spoke volumes. Back home, Lena was waiting, her expression resolute. "I'll tell you everything," she said. She spoke of her childhood in rural Georgia, the bullying, the years of hiding who she was. Nathan listened, his anger softening but not fading. "Why didn't you trust me?" he asked. Lena's voice broke. "Because I've lost everyone I ever told." Was her fear enough to justify the lie? That afternoon, a letter arrived, addressed to Lena in unfamiliar handwriting. Nathan, still on edge, opened it. Inside was a single page. "I know who you are, Lucas. Tell the truth or I will." No signature, just a Polaroid of Lena from years ago, her face younger, less polished. Nathan's blood ran cold. "Who sent this?" "Who knows?" he demanded, shoving the letter in Lena's face. Her face paled. "I don't know," she stammered, but her eyes betrayed her. Nathan's suspicion flared. "Don't lie to me. Again." Lena's silence was deafening, the letter a ticking bomb between them. Who was watching them? The next day, Nathan's sister Tara showed up unannounced. "You didn't call," she said, her tone sharp. She glanced at Lena, who was tidying the kitchen, and lowered her voice. "Mama's worried, Nathan. You've been off. What's going on?" Nathan wanted to confess everything, the documents, the betrayal, but the words stuck in his throat. Tara's eyes flicked to Lena, then back to him. "If she's hurting, you tell me." Her protectiveness stirred Nathan's doubts, amplifying his sense of humiliation. As Tara left, Lena overheard, her face tightening. "She's never liked me," she muttered. Nathan snapped. Maybe she's right to be suspicious. Was Tara onto something? That evening, Nathan and Lena attended a community barbecue, a tense attempt to act normal. Neighbors chatted over ribs and cornbread, but Nathan felt eyes on him. Across the yard, a woman he didn't recognize stared at Lena, her expression unreadable. Lena froze mid-conversation, her drink slipping from her hand. "You okay?" Nathan asked, his voice low. Lena nodded, but her eyes followed the woman, who vanished into the crowd. Later, Nathan confronted her. Who was she? Lena's hesitation was a knife twist. Just someone from my past. Her vagueness reignited Nathan's anger. Your past seems to be everywhere, he spat. What else was she hiding? Back home, the tension boiled over. Nathan's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Ask Lena about Savannah. His mind flashed to their honeymoon, her distant moments. What happened in Savannah? He demanded. Lena's face crumpled. It's not what you think. But before she could explain, Nathan's temper flared. I'm done with your secrets. He stormed to the garage, grabbing a hammer from his toolbox, his vision narrowing. Lena followed, her voice frantic. Nathan, stop! As he turned, hammer in hand, her eyes widened with terror. The room pulsed with danger, their marriage teetering on a razor's edge. Would this be the moment it all fell apart? Nathan stood in the garage, hammer raised, Lena's terrified eyes pleading for mercy. One moment of rage could end it all, but who would pay the ultimate price? The dim light of the garage cast jagged shadows, the hammer in Nathan's hand glinting, with menace. Lena's voice trembled as she backed against a workbench, her hands raised. Nathan, please, you're not this person. Her words were a desperate lifeline, but Nathan's mind was drowning in betrayal. The birth certificate, the letter calling her Lucas, the mysterious woman at the barbecue. His grip tightened, the weight of the hammer grounding his fury. You made me this person, he spat, his voice raw. The air pulsed with danger, their marriage a house of cards collapsing. Would he cross the line? A car door slammed outside, snapping Nathan's focus. He lowered the hammer, his breath ragged as Lena's eyes darted toward the sound. Someone's here, she whispered, hope flickering in her voice. Nathan cursed under his breath, shoving the hammer onto a shelf. He grabbed Lena's arm, his fingers bruising. Not a word, he hissed, pulling her back into the house. Through the living room window, he saw their neighbor, Ms. Evelyn, a nosy retiree, peering toward their bungalow. She knocked, her voice sharp. Nathan, Lena, everything okay? I heard yelling. Nathan forced a calm tone, opening the door a crack. We're fine, Ms. Evelyn. Just a late night. Her eyes lingered on Lena, who stood silent, her face tight. You sure? Evelyn pressed. Nathan nodded, shutting the door. Had she heard too much? Inside, Lena pulled away, her voice low but firm. You can't keep doing this, Nathan. You're scaring me. Her defiance sparked his anger anew. Scaring you? You lied about who you are. He paced, the letter from earlier burning in his mind. Who sent that note? Who's the woman from the barbecue? Lena's face crumpled. Her name's Simone. She's someone I knew before I transitioned. She's been trying to reconnect, but I cut her off. I swear, that's all. Nathan's laugh was cold. All? You've got a whole life I don't know about. Lena stepped closer, her eyes pleading. I'm telling you now because I love you. Please, let's fix this. Could her honesty save them, or was it too late? The next morning, Nathan found a crumpled photo in Lena's jacket pocket. A younger Lena, pre-transition, with Simone, both smiling at a beach. His stomach twisted. The past was closing in. He confronted Lena, holding up the photo. This is what you're hiding? Lena's voice shook. That was years ago, Nathan. Simone's just stuck in the past. But her hesitation fueled his paranoia. He stormed out, driving aimlessly through Atlanta's rain-slicked streets, the photo burning a hole in his pocket. At a dive bar, he downed whiskey, his mind spiraling. A text from Tara popped up. Mama's asking about Lena, what's going on? Nathan ignored it, but the pressure was mounting. His family, the neighbors, Simone. Was the truth about to explode? Back home, Lena was on the phone, her voice hushed. Nathan caught the tail end. I can't keep lying, Simone. He knows. She hung up as he entered, her face pale. You're still talking to her? Nathan roared, slamming the photo on the counter. Lena's eyes widened. It's not what you think. She's struggling, Nathan. She's been threatening to tell people if I don't meet her. Nathan's vision narrowed, the betrayal cutting deeper. Threatening? So you're protecting her instead of me? Lena's tears fell. I'm protecting us. But Nathan was beyond reason, his voice shaking. There is no us. What would his next move be? That evening, a package arrived at their door, no return address. Nathan ripped it open, finding a USB drive and a note. Watch this, Nathan. His hands shook as he plugged it into his laptop. A grainy video played. Lena and Simone at a cafe months ago, Lena's face tense as Simone leaned in, whispering. The audio was faint, but Nathan caught Lucas, and he deserves to know. His blood boiled. Lena had known Simone was a threat and said nothing. He turned to her, the laptop screen glowing. You met her behind my back? Lena's voice broke. I was trying to stop her, Nathan. She's obsessed with my past. But the video felt like proof of deceit, shattering his last thread of trust. What would he do with this rage? The next day, Nathan's co-worker Marcus cornered him at the shop. Man, you're falling apart. Talk to me. Nathan's voice was flat. Lena's not who I thought. Marcus frowned. What's that mean? Nathan hesitated, then spilled everything. The documents, Simone, the video. Marcus's face hardened. She played you, man. You don't owe her nothing. His words, steeped in old-school machismo, lit a fuse in Nathan's mind. Back home, Lena was packing a bag, her eyes red. I'm going to my sister's for a few days, she said. We need space. Nathan's voice was ice. You don't get to walk away. Was this the breaking point? That night, alone in the house, Nathan's rage festered. He found Lena's journal in her nightstand, pages filled with her fears of losing him, her guilt over hiding her past. One entry chilled him. Simone won't let go. She says she loves me, but it's control. The words blurred as his anger surged. Lena, Simone, the lies were suffocating. When Lena returned unexpectedly, her key turning in the lock, Nathan was waiting, the journal in one hand, a kitchen knife in the other. You're back to lie some more? He growled. Lena froze, the bag slipping from her shoulder. Nathan, put that down. Would her words reach him, or was it too late? The kitchen was a pressure cooker, the knife glinting under the fluorescent light. Lena's voice trembled. I came back to fight for us. But Nathan's mind was a furnace. Every lie, Lucas, Simone, the video, fueling the flames. Fight? He spat, stepping closer. You destroyed us. Lena's eyes flicked to the knife, her body tensing. I'm still the woman you love, she whispered. But Nathan's hand tightened, his vision red. In a blind moment, he lunged, the knife slashing through the air. Lena screamed, stumbling back, blood blooming on her arm. She fell, her cries echoing as Nathan struck again, the blade finding her chest. The room spun, blood pooling on the tile, her eyes locking on his in a final, haunting plea. What had he done? Nathan staggered back, the knife clattering to the floor. Lena's body lay still, her blood seeping into the grout. His hands shook as he sank to his knees, the reality crashing down. He'd killed her, the woman he'd vowed to love. Panic clawed at him. He dragged her body to the bathroom, his mind racing. The walls seemed to close in, her perfume still lingering. He grabbed his phone, dialing 911, his voice hollow. I killed my wife. The operator's questions blurred as he stared at Lena's lifeless form, his world collapsing. Would he face justice, or was the nightmare just beginning? Police swarmed the bungalow, their lights painting the night red and blue. Neighbors gathered, Miss Evelyn's voice trembling. I knew something was wrong. Nathan sat in cuffs, his face blank as detectives surveyed the blood-soaked scene. Lena's body, barely recognizable, was a grim testament to his rage. At the station, Nathan's confession was halting. She lied about who she was, I snapped. But the truth was, Messier, Simone's threats, his family's pressure, his own insecurities had all collided. Who was truly to blame? The case exploded across Atlanta, sparking debates on identity, trust, and violence. Lena's sister launched Justice for Lena, a viral movement demanding protections for trans women, especially Black trans women who faced staggering rates of violence. Simone, revealed as Lena's ex, admitted to sending the letter and video, her obsession a catalyst for tragedy. Nathan's trial was a media circus, his defense claiming emotional distress. But the jury saw a murderer. Guilty of first-degree murder, he was sentenced to life, his once promising future reduced to a cell. Lena's community mourned, her photography studio now a memorial, her lens forever stilled. Could her death spark change, or was it just another statistic? The bungalow was sold, but its scars lingered, a reminder of love twisted into horror. Lena's story, shared millions of times on YouTube, became a rallying cry, her truth outliving her killer. Nathan, haunted by her eyes, faced a lifetime of regret, while the world grappled with the cost of fear and secrets. In the end, Lena's love had been her strength and her undoing. Well, have you ever heard of a case like this? Comment your thoughts. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.